Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to look at something really cool, AI music.
Yeah, it's really amazing what's happening in the field.
I know. Like, have you heard about that AI that composed a piece that sounded just like Bach?
Oh yeah, the one that fooled the
Yeah,
experts.
that's the one. Crazy, right? It makes you wonder if we're like on the verge of a musical revolution or something.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what's really interesting is that AI isn't just copying the old masters, it's actually composing original music.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, algorithms are creating symphonies, pop songs, even experimenting with new genres we haven't even heard of yet. It's mind-blowing.
Okay, now I'm even more curious. So how does this all work? We have this excerpt called The Technical Side of AI Music, How It Works and the Programming Behind It. Seems like a good place to start.
Definitely. It breaks down AI music creation into three key stages.
Okay, lay it on me.
The first stage is all about data. Imagine if you could feed a musical genius every piece of music ever created. That's essentially what happens during data collection and pre-processing. The AI takes in massive amounts of data, MIDI files, recordings, sheet music, everything. It's like building a giant musical library in its digital brain.
So it's like a musical sponge, just soaking it all up.
Exactly. Then comes the model training stage, where the AI starts to flex its computational muscles.
Okay, what happens there?
It uses techniques like machine learning and neural networks to analyze all that data, find patterns, understand harmonies, and learn the underlying recipes for different musical styles.
So it's not just copying notes, it's like learning the rules of music, right? Like the grammar of music.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's figuring out what makes Bach sound like Bach, Beyonce sound like Beyonce, and then uses that to create something new. For example, to capture the flow of a melody, they often use something called a recurrent neural network, or RNN for short.
RNNs. Okay, those sound complicated.
Think of them like musical storytellers.
Storytellers.
Yeah. They remember what came before and use that to build the next part of the melody. They're great at capturing the emotional arc of a piece.
So it's like the AI is learning to tell a story through music, just like a human composer would.
Exactly. And then for really complex pieces, they use something called transformers.
Transformers, like the robots.
Kind of, but not really. Imagine a master architect designing a giant cathedral with all the little details, the arches, and everything. That's what a transformer does for music. It can handle those huge, multi-layered compositions, keeping track of everything.
Wow, these AIs sound like they have some serious musical chops. But how do they actually create the music? Like, how does it get from the AI's brain to, something we can hear?
That's the final stage, music generation and output. This is where all that learning comes together. The AI can use a specific genre, a mood, or just create something totally unexpected.
So you're saying you can be like, hey, AI, write me a sad tango.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you can let it do its own thing and see what happens.
That's so cool. And the output, that can be like a file you can play or what?
Exactly. It could be a MIDI file you can load into your music software, or even a full audio track ready to go.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. But what about the actual tools and tech behind it all? The excerpt mentions all these different programming things. What are some of the key players in this whole AI music world?
Well, there are things called deep learning frameworks.
Okay, deep learning
You
frameworks.
can think of them like artist studios for AI.
Ah, okay, I'm starting to get it.
Frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch provide the building blocks for creating these musical AIs. They're like the workshops where all the magic happens.
So these AI studios are cranking out these musical masterpieces. It's like a whole new industry popping up. But how do they get the actual sounds, like the violin or a drum or something?
That's where it gets really interesting. We have to look at audio signal processing. It's like teaching the AI to hear.
Okay, so it's not just creating music, it has to understand sound itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And there are techniques that can do this, like the Fourier transform.
The what in it?
Fourier transform, it basically breaks down a sound into all of its frequencies.
So you can like see all the different parts of a sound?
Yep, like analyzing a rainbow to see all its colors. And once it gets that, it can put them back together in new ways.
Hmm.
And that's where models like WaveNet come in.
WaveNet, another one of those fancy names.
Yeah, but it's really cool. WaveNet is a type of deep generative model. It can actually create sounds.
Whoa, hold on. Create sounds, like from scratch.
You got it. It can create the sound of a human voice, a trumpet, anything.
Yeah,
And super realistic, too.
that's incredible.
It is. And then to make it sound even more real, they use these things called generative adversarial networks. GANs for short.
GANs. Wait, aren't those used for making those super realistic pictures that look like photos?
That's right. Same idea, but for music. Imagine two AIs battling it out. One tries to make music, and the other tries to guess if it's real or fake.
A musical duel.
Uh-huh, exactly. And that back and forth makes the first AI get better and better.
That's pretty wild. But what about the AI composers that, like, follow the rules more? Are there methods that use algorithms and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. There's algorithmic composition. They
Mm.
use things like Markov chains and rule-based systems.
Markov chains. I feel like I'm back in math class.
Uh-huh. It's not that bad. Think of it like a musical connect the dots, where the AI fills in the blanks based on, like, what notes usually come next.
Okay, so it's not just making stuff up. It's following a sort of musical guide.
Exactly. And then there are rule-based systems. They use preset rules to compose in a certain style.
So it's like giving the AI a musical recipe book to follow.
Yeah, you could say that. And they might not have the same kind of free-flowing creativity, but they're good for specific things, like background music or sticking to a style.
It's like having different tools for different jobs.
Hmm.
So speaking of tools, let's talk about the platforms that are making this AI music stuff available to everyone. Like AIVA and those others.
Yeah, for sure. AIVA is the one that's great for those huge orchestral pieces.
Yeah, perfect for soundtracking your next epic movie. What about Amper Music? Isn't that one for like YouTubers and stuff?
Yep. Amper music is really easy to use. You pick a genre, a mood, even how long you want the song to be, then bam, it makes it for you.
It's like having your own personal AI composer on call, ready to go. What about people who like weirder music? Anything for them.
Definitely. MuseNet from OpenAI is good for that. It can do like classical, jazz, pop, anything. It can adapt to all sorts of different styles.
A musical chameleon. Nice. And wasn't there one called JukeDeck that made music for videos and ads?
Oh yeah, Duke Deck was pretty popular before it got bought out. It was really good at making music that fit perfectly with video. You've probably heard some of his stuff without even knowing it.
Whoa, no way. So AI music is already everywhere.
It's becoming more and more common, and as the technology gets better, it's only going to become more a part of our lives.
But with all this amazing AI music popping up, there's got to be some downsides, right? Like, can AI really capture the human side of music, the emotions and all that?
That's the million-dollar question. It's something everyone's thinking about. AI can make some really impressive music, but
Hmm.
can it really match the emotion and soul that humans put into their music?
So it's like the difference between a robot perfectly mimicking a human smile versus a real, genuine smile.
Yeah, exactly. AI can get the form right, but can it get that essence? That's the big question. And it's not just about emotion either.
What else is there?
Think about those super complex musical forms, like counterpoint in classical music, where different melodies weave together. Can AI really understand those subtle interactions?
It sounds like there are still some musical challenges for AI to overcome, but I mean, it's come a long way. It wasn't long ago that AI making music sounded like something from a sci-fi movie.
True. And who knows what's next? Maybe AI will surprise us and push the boundaries of music even further, create sounds and structures that humans never even thought of.
It's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? AI not just copying us, but actually going beyond what we can do. But hey, before we get too deep into that, let's step back for a second.
Sounds good.
We've talked a lot about the technical side of AI music, the algorithms, the platforms. But what about us humans? What does it mean for us, the listeners and the musicians, to live in a world where AI is becoming a composer? How does it change our relationship with music?
Those are big questions. This conversation goes way beyond the technical stuff. It gets into what it means to be human in a world with AI.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. And it's a conversation I definitely want to keep having, but maybe we need a minute to process all this. When we get back, we'll explore some of the real-world effects of AI music, the challenges, the opportunities. We'll be right back.
Welcome back.
So before the break, we were talking about AI music and what it all means for us humans. But something I've been wondering is, haven't we already heard a lot of AI music without even knowing it?
Yeah, it's very possible. Like all those jingles you hear in online ads or that background music on YouTube videos, a lot of that could be AI generated.
Wow, so it's already sneaking into our ears. Are there any examples you can think of just so we know what we're listening for?
Well, there's that one time an AI wrote a piece that sounded just like Bach, and a bunch of music experts, they couldn't even tell it wasn't real. It's crazy how good it is at copying styles.
That's both amazing and a little scary. If AI can sound like the great composers, what does that mean for human musicians?
That's a good question. A lot of musicians are worried about that. But I think instead of seeing it as a threat, it might be better to think of AI as a new tool, like almost a partner.
So instead of replacing human composers, it can work with them.
Exactly. AI can help with the technical stuff, like coming up with melodies and harmonies, while the human composer focuses on the emotion and the story. It could be a really cool team.
That's a good way to look at it. So for people who want to check out some AI music, where should they start? Any suggestions?
Sure. If you like big orchestral music, you should definitely check out AIVA. They've made some amazing pieces that have been used in movie trailers and video games. Really epic stuff.
AIVA, got it. What about something a little more, everyday?
For that, I'd say check out Amper Music. It's really easy to use, and you can even create your own AI music. It's perfect for people who make videos or podcasts, or anyone who just wants to try it out.
That sounds fun. So we have orchestral music, custom tracks. What about the people who like more experimental
Well,
stuff?
there's definitely stuff for them. OpenAI made this thing called Jukebox,
Jukebox, okay.
and it can create all sorts of different music, jazz, hip-hop, even metal. What's really cool is that it's not just copying those genres, it's mixing them together in crazy ways.
Jukebox, I'll have to check that out. It sounds
Okay.
pretty wild. So it seems like AI can make almost any kind of music now. Is there anything it can't do?
Well, as we talked about before, it's still hard for AI to create music with real human emotion. It can make music that's technically perfect, but capturing that feeling, that soul that humans put into music, that's still a challenge.
Yeah, it's like the difference between a robot trying to smile and a real, genuine smile.
Exactly. And I think that's what will always make human music special, that ability to express deep emotions and connect with people.
So maybe instead of being scared of AI, we should see it as a way to push music even further.
Definitely. It could be a really amazing partnership between human and machine,
Yeah,
combining creativity and technology.
well said. So as we finish up this deep dive into AI music, what are the big takeaways you'd want our listeners to remember?
I think the main thing is to keep an open mind about AI music. Don't just write it off. Listen to it, try out different platforms, see what you like. You might be surprised.
And remember, this is still just the beginning for AI music. It's changing so fast, it's exciting to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe someday we'll look back and this will be seen as the time when music entered the digital age,
Yeah.
when human and machine creativity started working together.
That's a pretty amazing thought. And on that note, we'll leave you all to explore the world of AI music. Until next time, keep listening and stay curious. This has been The Deep Dive.